On behalf of Srila Prabhupada, we welcome all of you to Radhakund and Shamakund. We often say we're going to Radhakund, but it also means that we're going to Shamakund as well. These are two of the most sacred places in the universe. As we said yesterday in our Bhagavatam class in Krishna Balaram Mandir, that if we, while speaking in learned circles, you must always give some reference for what you're saying to make it authorized. A perfect example of that is Vaisheshika Prabhu, who, whatever subject matter there is in Krishna consciousness, he's got a quote for it. It's a shloka wala. But we can refer to Sri Rupa Goswami's Upandesamrita to get an idea, an appreciation, a mood for where we are today. He writes, the holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Lila pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who's unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? Sri Goswami Prabhupada ki. Traditionally, living, or you could even say visiting Radhakund, it's reserved for the topmost transcendentalists, the topmost devotees of the Lord. But the Lord is so kind that He's allowed us today as sadhakas, at best we're aspiring devotees, to come here. This is amazing. I remember a verse from the Bible when I was a young boy. Sometimes I'd go to church. It was just the fashion in those days. And there in Corinthians 2:9, it's written, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined the things that God has prepared for those who love Him. It sounds like something out of Goswami literature. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has imagined the things that God has prepared for those who love Him. Wow. That's so beautiful. So 5,000 years ago, Radhakund was a place, so much can be said. We speak for years here. Radhakund was a place that Radha and Krishna would often meet for their transcendental pastimes. If we had spiritual eyes, apakat lila means it's still going on. Apakat lila. Pakat means that even the common person could come and see. But apakat means that you need spiritual eyes. Like Krishna says to Arjuna, I give you divine eyes, Arjuna, to see my universal form. So if we had those eyes, what would we see where we're sitting? It's already beautiful. It's rustic. This is Braj in the old days. My old days, in the 70s. All of Vrindavan looked like this. Simple village, some cows, a few sadhus, some temples, dusty roads. Sometimes the dust was so thick when you were doing Vrindavan Parikrama, it slowed you down. It was up to your ankles. It was hard to walk. Brajrenu, one of the 5 personalities who grants us residence. We hardly understood in those days. We were taking our baby steps. But if we had the eyes to see, what would we see? Well, a sadhu, he sees through his ears, not through his eyes. So we're seeing tattvadarshi to the eyes of Rasik Bhaktas. And what do they see when they're here? We would see, right now, Radha and Krishna dancing like we were dancing, little Vrinda. And some of the ladies were trying to keep up with her. She put us to shame. No, not shame. Maybe the moves weren't so good, but the bhav, it's something from a previous life. She just gets enchanted. She just goes into this enchantment. And she's not even dancing for us to look at. Isn't it? She's just dancing from her heart. This is bhakti. This is what Bible says from the mouth of a child. We want that. We hanker for that. So the Tattvadarshis, they're seeing Radha and Krishna now dancing and joking. There's lots of humor in Braja Leela. Lots of humor. We would see Radha and Krishna riding on swings, playing hide and seek, playing holy, throwing dice in your mind's eye, playing ball, enjoying water sports, hearing, one Acharya says, hearing the poetry of parrots. What is that? Hearing the poetry of parrots, because the parrots are all Nitya Siddhas. They're not just birds. Every living entity in Braj is a fully realized soul. So the parrots, when they chirp, the parrots chirp, when they talk, it's all poetry about Radha Sham. When oh when will that day be ours that we have those ears to hear the poetry of the parrots? Oh my gosh. And we would see Radha and Krishna picking fruits, eating sweet fruits from the trees. We would also see on all sides of this lake here, bathing ghats. There's Lalita has her bathing ghats. Actually, all the Sakis have their bathing ghats. All the Manjaris have their bathing ghats. It's inconceivable how there can be so many ghats with so many devotees, but this is Braj. It can shrink and it can expand to facilitate the devotee's service to the divine couple. It'd make a great movie. It'd almost be like a fantasy movie, but it's absolute truth. It's never fantasy. So those ghats, they'd be fashioned from jewels. There'd be luxuriant gardens. There'd be all sorts of furnishings in the gardens, like seats and swings and couches. If you read Govinda Lilamrita, Krishna Bhavanamrita, wow, it's just nectar. All the details. There are even elegant places for dining. Vrindavan. But even with our present eyes, isn't it? It's so soothing to come here. Meet the people. Meet Babaji. 192 rounds a day. He goes to sleep at 11 o'clock, he gets up at 2 o'clock. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Actually, I was thinking, because we have special guests today, I was thinking that, they hear, oh, we're going to Radhakund. But actually there's 2 kunds. There's 2 kunds because these are the personal bathing places of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his playground of the spiritual world. And there's a bathing place for Sri Radha. And we come, and on the permission of Srila Prabhupada, we can also take baths, but in great awe and reverence, because this water is liquid prema. To our conditioned eyes, to our material senses, it appears like water with a little algae maybe on it, some turtles there. But if we had the eyes to see, we would understand it's liquid prema. So who wouldn't bathe in liquid prema? Now you notice that when we go around again, that Radhakund is square-shaped and Shamakund is octagonal shape. It means it's something like that. And we explained that there was a reason for that, because when Raghunath Das Goswami took up the seva of excavating these two ponds, because they were just about this big originally, he envisioned pilgrims coming here and getting the benefit of bathing in liquid prema. So he ordered his workers to excavate. So it was very easy, Radhakund's like a rectangle. But around Shamakund were 5 trees in kind of an awkward positions. And in his dream, Raghunath Das Goswami, in his dream, the 5 Pandavas appeared to him and said, "We are those trees. We're here on the banks of Shamakund, the 5 Pandavas. So please don't cut down these trees." So he woke up and he ordered his workers, don't cut down the trees, which meant, they could only shape the kund in a kind of odd form, and that's why it's not rectangular like that. And I explained when we were over there at Shamakund, looking into Shamakund, that there's 1 tree left, because the other 4 trees have disappeared. There's 1 tree. So which of the Pandavas is in that tree? All 5. All 5 are there. They're still there. Now it's become a little brush. I'm concerned about it, actually. It's become a bush, practically. People tear off. And I mentioned when I was here in the maybe it was 1992, we were having kirtan there. A storm came and a branch broke off. And I grabbed that branch and I took it home, and one devotee made beads out of it. I gave those to my brother at his initiation. Hare Krishna. So that's just an interesting kind of fact about this place. 1 tree left, and if we go around again, you can maybe go and pay your obeisances to that particular place. But we shouldn't think that Shamakund is any less importance than Radhakund. We might think like that in our thinking as neophyte devotee. Radhakund's superior to Shamakund. No, if only because by bathing in Radhakund, you get the same love that Radha has for Shyam. And by bathing in Shamakund, you get the love that Shyam has for Radha. So they're equal in importance. And in his Sri Govardhan Ashraya Dashaka, Raghunath Das Goswami's 10 appeals to the residents, to have residents at Govardhan Hill, he writes, listen carefully, those who serve Shamakund, which is millions of times greater than the Ganges, and which was born from the touch of Krishna's lotus foot, become dearer to Krishna than even Lord Shiva. That's a big plus in our spiritual lives. Those who serve or bathe in Shamakund, which is millions of times greater than the Ganges. We were just in Rishikesh. We were running, isn't it, to take bath in the Ganges. People were going to Kumbh Mela to take the Sangam. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he said, those who serve Shamakund, which is millions of times greater, with all due respect, I'm just repeating his words, than the Ganges, and which was born from the touch of Krishna's foot, become dearer to Krishna than even Lord Shiva. Wow. Now on the western bank of Shamakund, speak a little bit of Shamakund, because Raghunath Das Goswami is instructing us, there's a place called Pashakela Ghat. Has anyone ever been there? I know where it is. Pashakela Ghat. Pashakela is it's a game. It's like dice, something like dice. When we hear Radha and Krishna play dice, it's not like, in the casinos in Las Vegas. It's a different type of dice game. And they play this game every day. Apakat Leela, it's still going on. At some part of the day, they play dice at that god. But instead of coins subscribed to valuable jewels, Krishna always wagers kisses and hugs. You're pretty deep here. What do you win? You get the kisses and the hugs of the person you defeated. So in that sense, for some reason, Krishna always loses. And he gets the hugs and kisses. And she sometimes loses and gets the hugs. This is Raj. So we know that Raghunath Das Goswami spent 48 years here doing bhajan. In fact, we did parikrama around his samadhi. Babaji took us on parikrama samadhi. And when I was checking to see the pastimes of the other 6 Goswamis at Radhakund, I have yet to find any written record of Rupa Goswami having a specific bhajan kutir here at Radhakund. However, he visited Radhakund very often. He would come here. One time, I showed you the swing, right? One time Rupa Goswami was chanting on the banks of Radhakund. When he glanced at that tree that I showed you, or maybe that tree's a distant cousin, and he saw something he'd never seen before, because he would chant japa here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. You know, and look at the Kund, and look at Giriraj, and look at the sadhus, and he noticed this tree that he'd always seen, but at this particular time, a very beautiful bejeweled, it's an interesting word, even in English it's a tongue twister, a beautiful bejeweled swing with 2 lotus-shaped seats which were facing each other. And he was wondering, how did I overlook that? I come here every day, or come often to chant japa, and I didn't see a swing like that, something so prominent. Then all of a sudden, he heard voices announcing the appearance of Radha and Krishna and many gopis. Radha and Krishna will be coming, and they're gopis. And soon he saw that Radha and Krishna came, and they appeared next to the tree. And as Krishna climbed onto the swing, he said to Radharani, we have the text. It wasn't recorded by tape recorder, but through the eyes of the Tattvadarshis we see. He said to Radharani, my dearest one, please come and take this lovely seat next to me and make it even lovelier by your presence. It's a lovely seat, darling, but you'll make it even lovelier by your presence. Let us sit here and enjoy the wind in our faces. Swing. Let us enjoy the wind in our faces. Radharani said no. What? We like to swing in a swing, isn't it? Swing. Just when we were children. We swing on swings. She replied, no, Krishna, I will not sit there, because whenever we swing together, you frighten me by making the swing go too high. Have you ever swung too high? When I was young, my next door neighbor, Mr. Campbell, I moved when I was 7. I still remember his name, Mr. Campbell. He used to eat yogurt. Nobody ate yogurt in those days, yummy yogurt. He was a health fitness guy. He had a swing installed for his children, and he could swing so fast, he would go around like that. Big man. Whoa. Anyway, so Radharani's afraid the swing will go too high. You can swing alone, and all of us gopis will watch you from here. But Krishna insisted, and he assured her that their swinging would be very smooth and very peaceful. Krishna's a cheater, he's a liar, he's a thief. I don't have to explain. But still, Radha, knowing that, she refused. So when Krishna continued pleading with Radha, her gopi friends took Krishna's side and assured her they would help push the swing in such a way that it would be safe. Not just Krishna, but her so then, oh, my gopis will be there, everything will be fine. So finally she took her seat next to Krishna, and as promised, the gopis were swinging very gently. And Radha and Krishna were enjoying swinging back and forth. And as they did so, what did the gopis do? They sang of Krishna's heroic deeds. This is Braj. Every step is a dance. Every word is a song. The flute is the constant companion. And there's a festival every day. So often gopis are singing. Like we're being trained to sing now. Sometimes may not want to go in the kirtan. But practice makes perfect. If Sachi Sutta is singing, I'll be there. If he's doing a kirtan somewhere in the world, I'll fly there just to be with his kirtan. You saw that kirtan melted the hearts. I think the 33 million demigods were dancing above us. My wish is I can be with you forever. So gopis were singing, and other gopis were throwing flowers. And still others, they sprayed perfume on them. Some are singing, some are doing flowers. Just this is what we want to, like samskaras, what in our brain. We have too much nonsense there. Some are spraying perfume. But just as Sri Radha was beginning to relax, Krishna began to, it's described, lean and kick. I think about that for a while. That's how Bhanu Swami translated. Lean and kick. I remember when I was on this, I wanted to go, I'd stick my legs out, I'd kick my legs out and lean back, right? That's how you get it to go higher. Am I right? You want to go higher, you lean back and you kick your legs out, and the swing goes. So Krishna was doing that. And he made the swing go higher and higher and higher until it was out of the gopis' control. They had to step back. Whoa! So Radharani was begging Krishna, please, Krishna, slow down. But he would just roll his eyes and laugh. Like, ah. So Radharani thought, here we go again, Shyamasundar. And as he made it go higher by kicking, leaning back, she became more and more worried. So she pleaded with Krishna. Please don't go so high. Let me off. And the gopis, they're also worried. I mean, whatever sentiments she feels, because the manjaris in particular are so close to her in loving devotion and in service, they feel the same sentiments. Like whatever the tree trunk feels, the vines around the tree trunk also feel. So manjaris, this is their part of their, they feel the same sentiments. Maybe not to the same degree, but that same pure love. So they started protesting. Krishna, we heard your promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. It's a song from the 50s. So Radharani's concern is described, the Acharyas say, it transformed into fear. And in fear, what did she do? What do you do when you're fearful? You take shelter of someone if you're fearful. Like Prabhupada was walking on the beach in Juhu, and he saw a colony of crabs. And as he came forward with his disciples on a morning walk, all the crabs, whoop, they went left into the ocean. And Prabhupada said to Bhakti Swarup Damodar, Goswami and Sadaputa, why did the crabs go into the ocean? So Bhakti Swarup Damodar Goswami said, well, Prabhupada, the movement created by our feet acts as an electrical current that goes through the sand into the bodies of the crab, and the C fibers in their brains tell them to go left. I was like, what? He said, no, they're very small and the ocean's very great. They're sensing danger. So because they're very small, the ocean's very, they've taken shelter of the ocean, and rightfully so, because the human beings can't get them. So naturally when there's danger, give me shelter. We look for shelter. This was all Krishna's plan. Because as soon as it started going, we're almost going to go over like that, she panicked, and she reached over and embraced Sham. Krishna just, wow, such a trickster. And a little side note, the acharyas say that Krishna enjoyed two things. He enjoyed feeling her desperate embrace and seeing Radhakund upside down, because they were getting pretty high. Who knows the mind of Krishna? His intimate associates. So the acharyas explain, who are these acharyas? They're gopis here, but they're male personalities here, but they're gopis in the spiritual world, so they know all these things. So Krishna's enjoying seeing Radhakund upside down. So I thought today I would go lay down near Radhakund on my back and look back like that. I'd see it upside down. I don't see the swing there. And meantime, the gopis watched in disbelief as Radha and Krishna flew up and down, and finally it came to a stop. Now remember, how do we know? Because Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami's telling the story, the pastime. He's seeing it. That's how we see it. We're seeing it through his eyes. So at that point, when Radharani just fell on Krishna and embraced him, Rupa Goswami fainted in ecstasy. When, oh when, will that day be ours? This is why we've come to Radhakund, to somehow make some progress on the path of bhakti or loving devotion. We're not just into peace. I was reading one in the Dandavats. There's an article about one brahmachari who joined the Krishna conscious movement a month ago. He was a Buddhist, a Western boy. He was a Buddhist. And he was well known because he was Paka Buddhist. Paka. He was always Shanti, Shanti, very peaceful. And then he was walking in the market to get some fruits, and a kirtan party passed by. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan Hey! Giridhari Gopinath Madanama. He thought, that's what I want. I've had peace for 10 years now, tired of peace. I want to move on and be blissful. And he followed the kirtan party back to the temple. I was going to say he shaved up, but Buddha's already shaved up. He started to grow his siga. And he joined. And he said, peace is not enough. I thought it was a really nice article. So we these type of things, we want to faint. We want our hairs to stand on end, our voice to falter. We have to discuss these things. As I often say, we know who we are and we know where we're going. We don't claim to be there, but what is the verse? Om Tat Vishnu. Translation?
The Supreme Lord,
the wise,
Supreme Lord, who is at the topmost position, Sada Pashyanti Sureha, who's
our eyes are fixed on that.
Yeah.
We have to discuss this. We can't just keep hearing we're not the body. We do, because we still think we're the body, because when material desires come, we entertain them for a few moments and kick them out. If we knew we weren't the body, we'd never entertain or be interested. But these things we have to hear. To hear the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna, because according to Bhagavatam, that's what destroys the lust, which is our foremost obstacle on the path of devotion. It is lust only, Arjuna, which is the all-sinful, all-devouring enemy of the transcendentalist. So he fainted in ecstasy, seeing this pastime. But when he regained consciousness, Radha, Krishna, and all the gopis. They disappeared. All he saw was the bejeweled swing, still hanging from the branch, swinging to and fro. So what did he do? Rupa Goswami went over to that tree and he paid full Dandavats to the swing. Dandavats. It's not only the neophyte devotee who's Dandavats. Those who have realized the divine, the Godhead, the Supreme, they realize how great God is and how small they are. And therefore they're humble. Humility is a sign of advanced devotee, not pride. You see a mountain from a long distance. Hey, the mountain. The closer you get, oh, it's so big. You feel the awe and reverence. So the closer you get to God, the closer you get to Krishna, you realize how great he is and how small you are, and you become very humble. So he did Dandavats to the swing. Tadiya. Tadiya means that which is used in the service of the Lord becomes divine. But when he woke up, the swing was gone. When he got up from the Dandavats. This is Krishna. Sambhog, Vipralamba. Sambhog, Vipralamba. Meeting, separation, meeting, separation, meeting, separation. And he left Radhakund, it's described, in a mood of amazement while softly chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. I'll just take a little more of your time. This is the best use of our time. In the Mathura Mandala Parikrama by Sri Narahari Chakravarti Thakur, it mentions another visit of Rupa Goswami here. We're following in the footsteps of the Brajabasis. They come here, so we also come here. So Rupa Goswami came one time, and in that book, Mathura Mandala Parikrama, it's mentioned that he just finished writing his book, Lalita-madhava. I love this pastime. I've told it 1,000 times, but Krishna consciousness is ever fresh. Svadhu, svadhu, pade, pade. He finished writing his book, Lalita-madhava, and he came to Radhakund. And, these Goswamis, in their humility, they would share their books with the other Goswamis. Is it okay? Like sometimes for my lectures, my, stimulation for ecstatic love, first I'll have the lecture, the outline, I'll send it to Hari Prasad for confirmation, or Mukunda Datta, or Gopinath Acharya, because what do I know? They're scholars, they're more advanced, so it's okay. They'll write a little bit red point there, change this or something, Then I give the lecture, I look smart. But it's not me, it's a combination of so many devotees. But we're all repeating, actually, aren't we? But the point is with realization, not just realization, with bhakti one day. So he brought this book to show to Raghunath Das Goswami, Lalita-madhava. Lalita-madhava describes Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka, focusing primarily on his intense feelings of separation from his devotees in Vrindavan, and in particular, who? Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radharani. That's the subject. You have to read Lalita-madhava. Now you can read. It's so nice. Krishna's in Dwarka, but where is he? Like they have that saying, the t-shirt, I left my heart in Vrindavan. He left his heart in Vrindavan, but he went there for whatever reason. So in Lalita-madhava 2:10, we hear Krishna expressing his feelings of separation from Radha while he's in Dwarka. What? We get to see that? We get to see the heart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? This is incredible. These are very confidential matters. Who knows the heart of all some big personality? We can know the heart of God. This Krishna conscious movement, it's mystical. It's amazing. So, in Lalita-madhava, in that verse, Rupa Goswami reveals the separation that Krishna is feeling. Krishna is saying, Srimati Radharani is the Ganges in which the elephant of my mind enjoys pastimes. You can chew on that for a while. Radharani is the Ganges in which the elephant of my mind enjoys pastimes. She is the shining of the full autumn moon for the chakora birds of my eyes, Krishna saying. She is the dazzling ornament, the bright and beautiful arrangement of stars on the border of the sky of my chest. Now today I have gained Srimati Radharani because of the highly elevated state of my mind. Bhagavan Shri Krishna ki, Sham Sundar Bhagavan ki. So every day while, you got the book, right? So Bhaganath, okay, I'll check it out for you. He says to Rupa. I mean, the human nature was there. I'll check it out. If I find anything, I'll let you know. Sometimes they would correct, But every day while reading Lalita-madhava, these intense feelings of vipralamba bhav, separation from Radharani were felt by Raghunath Das Goswami. He cried for hours at a time. And sometimes it's described he would wander around Radhakund after reading the book, calling out Sri Radha's name. Hey Radhe! Hey Radhe! Hey Radhe! Queen of Vrindavan! And at other times he would clutch that book, Lalita-madhava, to his chest. Like you have something dear to you, isn't it? You hold it like this. You hold it to your chest. Like I held Baba to my chest. He has Namaruchi. So I held him to my chest. To see the devotees, the perfection of the eyes, to hear from the devotees perfectly, to touch the body of the Vaishnava, the perfection of touch. So he held Lalita-madhava to his chest. And holding it, sometimes Raghunath Das Goswami would fall down unconscious. So people became concerned, seeing these various states of Raghunath Das Goswami's ecstasy. And they were struck with wonder, but at the same time they were worried because he was falling down. When elderly people fall down, they can break their bones and stuff. And all this was eventually brought to the attention of Rupa Goswami. You gave him the book. You gave him the book. And reading about that, Krishna's feelings of separation from Radha, he's feeling separation from Radharani, because that's the manjari. So when Rupa heard about this, he came up with an interesting, I can solve this problem. So at that time, Rupa Goswami was completing another book called Dandavats, which focuses on not vipralamba, but sambhog, the pastimes of meeting Krishna. Lalita-madhava is about Krishna feeling separation from Vrindavan. So this book, Dandavats, it focuses on meeting Krishna. And there's two principal ways of meeting or associating with Krishna. Probably you already know this. Srila Gaur-Govinda Maharaj gives a nice analogy in a book his disciples published called The Embankment of Separation. And therein he says that Krishna consciousness is like a flowing river. Every river has two sides to it, two river banks. So he says the flowing river of Krishna consciousness, right? The flowing river. We're like Ganges is flowing down, and the flowing of the kirtan of Hare Krishna mantra, it's flowing upwards back to Vaikuntha, back to Goloka Vrindavan. So every river has two banks on it. So he says the flowing river of Krishna consciousness has two sides as well. One is union, and one is separation. And both of these bring great happiness or ecstasy to the heart of the devotee. How can separation bring happiness? If, to the degree you love someone, when you're separated to that degree, you miss them. That can be painful. You can miss your mom, right? You're missing your mom. You're missing your sister. I'm missing my mom. She's already back in Goloka. She was chanting Hare Krishna when she died. So we might think it's better to be with Krishna than to be separated from him. But actually the advanced devotee prefers separation because separation makes the heart grow fonder. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary to Ujjvala Nilamani, he quotes Krishna. We get to hear what Krishna is thinking, what Krishna is saying, what Krishna is doing. Who in the world knows what God is doing, what he's thinking, what he wears, what he says, what are his jokes? Only the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, even other Sampradayas, they may not know as much as the Goswamis know. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary to Ujjvala Nilamani, he quotes Krishna. Sangama viraha vikalpe varam iha viroha na sangamas tasya sange shaiva tataika tribhuvanam api tanmayam virahe. If I had to choose between union and separation, Krishna says, I would prefer separation from my beloved one, because in union I see her in only one place, whereas in separation, my entire universe is filled with her. Shyamsundar Krishna ki. So anyway, once again, the book he was working on was Dan Keli Kamudi, about meeting Krishna. Namely, that book deals with Dan Keli, the pastimes of collecting taxes from the gopis as they traverse Vrindavan with their milk pot. That's union. They're arguing, they're pushing, they're shoving. You know, Krishna's and Radharani, Lalita's just fiery. Don't you touch my Radha, you rascal. That's all. There's a lot of love samvog there. So the idea is he's going to give this book to Raghunath Das Goswami to calm him down from feelings of separation. So he quickly finished it. It was done in a hurry. The last 30% of Dan Keli Kamudi was written very quickly. And he went to Radhakund and he gave it to Raghunath Das Goswami. Because hoping by reading those pastimes, the separation pastimes would go away and he'd be. So he said to him, here's the book. You know what he said to him when he gave him the book? He gave him Dan Keli Kamudi. He said, Raghunath Das Goswami, taste the contents. If there's some food, you really want to know what it's like? Taste it. Mishti dohi. Mishti dohi is very... You can look at mishti dohi, eat it. I probably give the example. Honey, miel en français, the miel. You can lick the jar, but if you really want to open up and taste it, then you know what honey is. So we talk about chanting Hare Krishna. But when you start chanting, isn't it? When you start chanting, there's a photo of him on the seawall in Mumbai. There's a wall there, see, where you drive by there. He's sitting there perfectly poised with his bead bag. He looks like some devotee chanting for 20 years. And with confidence. And he has some taste already. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare. And he hasn't stopped chanting because he tasted the honey. And that's only one little iota of that jar. What to speak when you dive into the ocean of nectar. You're young, you have your whole life ahead of you. So many wonderful things are going to happen to you as a result of this chanting. And it'll become more and more tasteful, like Baba, who does 192 rounds a day. He's an intelligent person. I've been discussing with him. He's from Bengal. So many shlokas he knows. What does he do all day? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. I want to be like him. One day when I'm too old to walk on the sand of the Baltic Sea coast, I'll be right here in front of Jiva Goswami's Bhajan Kutir like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. What would you like to eat today, Gurudev? Some khichdi. Anything else? No, Hare Krishna. That's my dream. Anyway, otherwise we can go out with our boots on, but either way is good enough, right? So he gave him the book, and But Raghunath Dasa Swami was reluctant to give up Lalita-madhava. But eventually he gave it back. He had the two books for a while when he gave back the, because he tasted the ecstasy of meeting Krishna and calmed down. So we're also, isn't it, by chanting, we're experiencing the satisfaction that comes from meeting Krishna. We pulled out the plug from the wall. We're drying up. We have to plug the wall, plug the plug back in, then you get the electricity. So our goal is to meet Krishna again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. The acharyas say that he calmed down apparently because separation from Krishna, vipralambha bhav, is a more turbulent emotion. He was more turbulent. Meeting's not so turbulent. So that's, these are the subject matters we discuss at Radhakund. Vipralamb and Sambhog. There's 4 kinds of separation. You can put it in your notebook. Purvarag, Mana, Prabhasa, and Prema Machicha. We won't go into that today. And there's 4 kinds of ways of meeting Krishna, because Radharani is also very eager to meet Krishna. And I found them last night because I burned the candle at the midnight hour because I want to give a talk at Radhakund. I mean, I'm not qualified to even come here, talk about something at Radhakund. Only by Babaji's mercy I'm able to say something. But in my research, I came across Prabhupada's purport, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 2362, where he describes different types of sambhog, different types of meeting. There's some kishipa sambhog. It's a brief meeting that's enjoyed by what? Further research. This type of meeting, it's meeting on the transcendental platform, meeting Krishna, meeting as children, meeting in the pasture lands, different types of sambhog, okay? How we're going to meet Krishna. How am I going to meet him when I meet him? Here's how you're going to meet him. You're going to meet him as a child. You're going to meet him in the pasture land. You're going to meet him at the time of milking cows. I got back to Godhead and I met him in milking the cows. There's a famous song, I met her at the laundromat. Sorry, I remember my brain. I met her at the laundromat. We want to go back and meet Krishna milking cows. Well, another times of Sangshipa Sambhog is meeting suddenly and unexpectedly. You just bump into him. You come back to Godhead and you're wondering, boom, you bump into him. Meeting by grasping the hand. Krishna, take my hand. Meeting by tugging on the clothes. Krishna will tug you. Meeting by blocking the path. Who are you? Krishna, you've been singing my name for eons of time. Meeting by enjoying a hug. Oh my gosh. Like Hanuman, Ram said to him, you've given everything for me. How can I reciprocate? So it's Dasiras. Hanuman said, Lord, give me a hug. So they hugged. Then there's Sankirna Sambhog, a meeting followed by an exchange that is enjoyed by meeting during the Rasa Lila dance, meeting during water sports, meeting during pastimes in the forest groves, meeting while disputing over paying tax in the tax pastime, meeting during the stealing of the flute. Now I'm working on a class about Radharani. We're on to Radharani now. And in this pastime, she's stealing Krishna's flute. Yeah, it's a nice pastime. Meeting during the enjoyment of boating. Meeting while drinking intoxicating honey wine. Wow. Got back to Godhead, I got intoxicated. Meeting while worshiping the sun god. Then there's Sampana Sambhog. A mature type of meeting that follows the separation caused by a short journey and enjoyed by viewing each other from a long distance. I saw her. Meeting during the swing festival. You meet Krishna during the swing festival. Meeting while throwing colors. Meeting to play riddles. Meeting to gamble with dice. Meeting while engaged in dancing. Meeting while lounging about. I'll have to get used to that one. I don't know how to do that. Meeting during pastimes of pretending to sleep. Shri Bajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham K. That's not all. Sambaridhi Mana Sambhog. A fully enriched type of meeting that follows a very long journey and is enjoyed by meeting in dreams. Right? I told that yesterday to someone, right? About that 7-year-old girl. 7-year-old Gurukul girl. I gave a class, something, and I was speaking about dreams, how nonsense they are, but dreams of the spiritual master and Krishna Prabhupada said are very nice. So I met the Gurukul kids afterwards. And I just said, hey, any of you guys ever dream about Krishna? Like, looking kind of down. Have you dream about, well, one girl raised her hand. I said, you dream about Krishna? She said, no, Radha. Okay, well, what do you dream? So she stood up. She gave this elaborate, long, detailed description from Krishna's, from Govinda Lalita-madhava, I think, about, how the gopis prepare to meet Radharani, how they dress and everything, and how they prepare flower garlands for her and her veils, and how they dress her. She went in for 10 minutes. She had this dream. And I said, wow, I'd like to be to serve Radharani like that. She said, you can't. What do you? I'm a Maharaj. You can't talk to me like that, 7-year-old. No, you can't do that for Radha. I said, why? Because you're a male. You're a man. So who's this kid? So we all took prasad. I made sure she sat next to me, and I took some prasad from her plate. She stole my sweets. It was a wonderful movement. So, meeting in dreams, meeting at Kurukshetra, meeting the blossoming of ecstatic emotions, meeting in Vrindavan after returning from Dwarka. This is nectar. Meeting while engaged in various pastimes, but with the roles of lover and beloved reversed. Maybe you can explain that later. Meeting while eating. Meeting while resting together. What's your name? Krishna. Meeting while the lover assumes the domineering mood. Shri Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ke. Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada Ke. Actually, the very first time, one more thing. The very first time Radha and Krishna met, officially met, or unofficially, but they met, was at Sanket, right? Sanket. Kavi Kanapur, he writes about that meeting in his Ananda Vrindavan Champu. And that meeting was very special. Even in his later pastimes, when Krishna was at Dwarka, being served by thousands of queens, whenever he would recall the sweetness of that first meeting with Radhika, the sorrow of separation would overwhelm him. So this first meeting of Radha and Krishna took place in the rainy season, when the weather made it quite difficult for the residents of Vrindavan to move about. But that made it easier for Radha and Krishna to meet, to travel to unnoticed meeting place. So the meeting was arranged by who? Purnamasi and Vrinda Devi. Of course, they had to wait a little bit till Radha and Krishna had grown out of childhood. Up until that time, they actually never met. So society was so strict that boys and girls couldn't meet. But they'd seen each other from a distance, purvarag. The emotion of love was generated just by seeing someone from a distance. And they'd heard about each other's character. So in that early stage of youth, it's described that Sri Radha's attachment to Krishna would often keep her awake. Like last night I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 3 o'clock. I was so excited that we're going to go to Radhakund today and take our 2 guests here. What an opportunity. Maybe they wouldn't understand everything, but they would understand the bhav, the mood of bhakti, devotion. So Radharani's attachment to Krishna would keep her awake at night. So on the night of their first meeting, which was arranged by Purnamasi and Vrinda, Radharani was thinking, finally I get to see Krishna, be with Krishna. Of course, that mood was Parikiya Bhav, unwedded love, but therefore it was a secret meeting. And she proceeded from Varshana through the forest undetected at night. And her girlfriends had smeared her body with black musk and dressed her in a dark blue sari and led her out into the dark of night because there was only the thin moon. And it's described by that author, she boldly entered the forest. And one great devotee, Govinda Das Thakur, has prayed in this regard, this particular pastime. O Radha, your glistening necklace, bracelets, and dress are all black. And the lotus flowers, buzzing bees, and all-encompassing night are blacker still. In this way, you cleverly remained hidden. And other acharyas comment that Radharani could barely see her way in the dark, but her natural love and affection for Krishna acted like an internal compass. What's that? It was dark, so she couldn't see her way. So how did she go? The acharyas say, her natural love and affection for Krishna acted like an internal compass, and guided her to the meeting place with Krishna. At one point along the way, she noticed a dark, tamal tree. We talked about trees yesterday, which she mistook to be Krishna. She ran and embraced the tamal tree. She began talking to it, to Krishna. But her gopi friends had to tell her it wasn't actually her beloved. Now, Krishna had already arrived at Sanket. He was waiting for her. What was he doing? He was chanting her holy names. And at one point, a flash of lightning lit up the area where he was, revealing beautiful Radharani entering into the kunds, along with their friends. And then the acharyas write, the goddess of bashfulness temporarily stunned both Radha and Krishna in the moment that they had prepared for their entire lives. At that point, Lalita pushed Radha forward, but then the goddess of resistance, Manadevi, caused Radharani to turn and run away. Seeing this, Radharani ran away. Krishna fainted. There's a lot of fainting in Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami fainted, Krishna fainted, Radharani fainted. Better get ready. And Radharani's gopi friends had to run and bring her back. And one of them whispered into her ear, Dear Sri Radha, today we request a favor of you. Just go forward and meet Krishna, and we will never again ask anything from you. Another gopi said, Oh moon-faced one, just look at that poor boy. He came alone through this dangerous jungle only for you. Be compassionate to him. Relieve him of his distress and anxiety. So finally Radharani kind of inched forward to meet Krishna for the very first time. And what did they do? They sat down and shared stories of their lives together. Just like you meet your husband, right? You get introduced to your husband through families. And what do you sit down? You sit down, you talk about the stories of your lives. But they also enjoyed loving glances and laughter. After some time, All the gopis left, Radha and Krishna alone. Of course, these are very deep subject matters, and it's warm, and you're probably hungry, and some devotees are nodding off. But they're beyond the scope of our realization. But Rupa Goswami has a nice prayer in Padyavali 312. In Vrindavan, Mukunda's eternal pastimes of union are going on forever. Due to such pastimes being very deep in nature, even the learned souls, such as Sukadev, do not speak about them. But by Prabhupada's grace, we're able to discuss, cure, and this is appropriate, isn't it? This is Radhakund. So it's appropriate that we have some discussion on these sweet Vrindavan pastimes. To be quite frank, unless we don't get this higher taste, we'll remain attached to the temporary, unfavorable things of this world. The lower taste, it leads to the repetition of birth and death. So Pramodana Saraswati says in his Viveka Shatakam, I'm the only one who has the book. The author translated that book for me and gave me one of the 2 copies he printed. Viveka Shatakam, it's 100 verses of wisdom by Prabodhananda Saraswati. Here's text 87. Where is Nahusha now? Where is Hiranyakashipu? Where is Ravana? Where is Vena? Where is Bhaumasura? Where is Kalayavana? Where is Katavir Arjuna? After climbing the mountain of pride, people certainly are seen falling down from it. Therefore, I have taken shelter of you, O Lord. Please protect me from the cycle of birth and death within this world. So this is the means to become purified of that, especially Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. This parikrama today, it just happened. I think Kartamashi or Braja said something, we have our guests, we should take them out around, but you're probably too tired, Gurudev. I said, no, not for them, I'm not too tired. I saw the picture of him chanting, like a veteran. After just 2 weeks, he's chanting, there's some Namruchi there. Let's take them to Radhakund. And Kartamashi said, Radhakund, maybe that's a bit high. I said, it's high, but just coming here, one gets a taste. They'll never be the same. So one last time, Prabodhana Saraswati reminds us, his Viveka Shatakam, text 57. O Lord of Braj Krishna, giving up your lotus feet and worshipping someone else, how can such a fool cross the ocean of material existence riding on a rock? Having observed the sensual pleasures that last for a mere twinkling of an eye, all pure saintly persons have made their residence in the fresh bowers of Sri Vrindavan Dham to get the love for the divine couple, Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. All glories to Sri Prabhupada, the revealer of the Dham. Shri Radhakund and Syamakund ke, Shri Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham ke, Shri Prabhupada ke, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ke, Kavikona Pura ke, all the saints ke, back to Godhead ke, Gaur Premanande! Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shine.